Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Kaitlin Olson, an Emmy Award nominee for Hacks, who plays DJ on Hacks, the Max series, which you could watch the season finale of this week. Kaitlin, I was saying I'm a huge fan of your work and the show, so this is great to speak with you. I feel like this is certainly a great show that is maybe its best season yet for season 3 of Hacks, and I guess certainly for DJ, I feel like it's your best material so far in your past. I mean, how many did you feel like that, I guess, or was that your take on it before the season started when you were like approached with where DJ was going to be headed?
Oh yeah, the roast episode, I just couldn't, I was counting down the days to do. I was so excited. It's just so good. It's got everything. It's like she's such a mess and she's so vulnerable and she's making stupid decisions that she's 100% standing by. And then she's also correct in her assessment of the situation and there's some redemption and yeah, I was delighted when I read that episode and talked about it.
The roast episode is so great. It just from top to bottom. But you start with I mean, it's great because I think you get to be so funny and obviously, and you like you said, there's like really good dramatic stuff too. I feel like, and like your stuff with Gene is obviously always so great. And I found like the AA meeting is fantastic those early stages, and especially because it's funny, but like also it's just the way you balance the comedy and the drama in those sequences is so good because it is so funny, but it also is like really heartbreaking, and obviously their relationship is so fraught. Can you talk a little about like those? I guess that aspect of it, like kind of balancing being funny, but also making sure the drama of the comedy is kind of coursing through it. I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I find such joy in characters that are just total messes. And I think just the more you dig into the reality of their experience, that can either be very comedic or very emotional. And I just have to give credit to the creators and writers, Jen and Paul and Lucia, for setting that tone from the very beginning. You know, you can't do a comedy and then or have just a comedic character and then later try and cram some emotion and it just doesn't it's jarring and it doesn't work. But this character was always I believe supposed to be um fun and funny and broken and intense. But you know, if you look on paper at what she's upset about and what she's striving to do, she wants her mom's attention. She's never gotten it. And that is sad. Like that is a really uh profoundly sad thing, especially a grown woman in her mid 40s being like still desperate for her mom's attention to the point where she has to act like a child or she is acting like a child. It's both funny and heartbreaking. So just finding that balance and really digging into the desire to get this woman's attention. I don't know, both things are true to me. It's I love characters like that. It's hilarious to me. And it's also sad.
It's great. It really is. And that's a great thing about, I think, yeah, this show is like, that's like a lot of that. And especially DJ, you mentioned like how getting Deborah's attention, I guess like there's in the roast episode, you get a couple of nice moments with Ava and Hannah Einbinder's character. And I guess like, how do you think of, how is the DJ Ava relationship evolved as like Ava's coming back in as her like surrogate daughter, right? Or like kind of like, and I feel like it feels like a little different this season, I guess. I don't know as a viewer, but I mean, how did you kind of feel like they're where they are in their relationship, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I love any scene I get to do with Hannah. She's just a dream. But I particularly love walking in to the room, having Hannah be on the toilet and having it just completely unfazed. DJ's just like launches right into the conversation. Doesn't even understand why she stops and shuts the door. Like, I'm here to talk. It's such a I don't even think she knows there's a power dynamic there, but she treats her as a sibling. She also treats them as I feel like I've decided that DJ just feels like they're siblings. Basically, they're on the same playing field. They're even, um, even though DJ is a lot older than this young woman. But it's like, yeah, just two girls, just like being girls hating their mom together. She just adopted her as a sister without any recognition on Ava's part that that's what's going on. Yeah, it's just there's such a selfishness in that, and just a DJ just decided that's how it is, so that's how it is. Um, I don't know, the more I can play DJ as a child who's completely unaware of how her actions are affecting other people, the more fun.
So you get to do that too. And this obviously with her incredible catchphrase, what a cunt, I guess. Like when you it's just so good. And in that it's introduced in that scene, right, with Ava. And it's like, oh my God, this is gonna be so it's like it's gonna be so bad, right? And you think it's gonna be really bad. I guess so first, like what was your thoughts, I guess, when you heard that was gonna be like the catchphrase for her? I guess how did like was that like, oh, this is the best? Or like was that like just how do you
Delighted. I mean, I can't think of a better one myself. Just it's a home run. I it's so perfect for her. It's so stupid. It's like the opposite of any well thought out joke. It's just a blue bottom baseline swear word, like the worst you can think of, and that's it. There's nothing funny to back it up. So it's a perfect punchline for DJ. The fact that Ava's trying to be diplomatic about it and try and find ways to fix it. I also love how much Ava cares about DJ, because Ava also sees how Deborah can um, be very hurtful, especially to people who are vulnerable, which Ava recognizes that DJ definitely is. And she's trying to help her and gently advises her not to, goes behind her back and asks Deborah to like do something to help her out. Um, yeah, it's such a fun like sisterly dynamic. And I love that DJ just ignores the whole thing and is like, nah, this is gonna work.
completely. And so the thing is, like, I've watched that episode like many times because I think it's so funny. You're obviously really funny in real life, right? Like, and I know like stand up is not necessarily like a thing you do, but like you're really funny. You're playing somebody who is not as funny, but obviously becomes hilarious as it goes on because she really does like kind of lean into it. I found that like your performance is so great because you have to start where you're very uneasy and unsure and kind of build into it. I guess like how did you kind of like think of it and not like was it hard for you not to be as like to get the momentum too fast, I guess, you know what I mean, like as you see her gaining the momentum of the crowd, like for you is that hard to like hold it back?
Um, well, no, because Deborah, DJ, that that moment begins with her completely crushed because she becomes the butt of the joke. She's there to calm mom down, and she's the butt of the joke the second before she gets up there and is supposed to perform in front of this crowd. Performing's not her thing. Uh, the whole idea is terrifying, but she's hell bent on doing it because she wants to prove a point. And um I just thought it was such a beautifully written thing because it starts off so, I mean, she should be sobbing and running out of there, but she stays there, and it's incredibly brave of her. And it is her own desire to prove that she can do it, keep there, and to have that redemption and have it not only work, but work really well, and have the audience love it and have Dra love it. That's all great, but the most beautiful thing to me is that she proved it to herself that she did it by herself and didn't need help. So it made sense to me. It was a sort of a slow arc and a slow burn, and that somewhere along the way she starts to get comfortable. And somewhere you find out later, she's recognizing, oh, this is what you're addicted to. This is what my mom loves. This does feel really, really good. And just that observation while she's in it, yeah, no, I just thought there were a lot of layers to it, and it was a fun thing to to work with.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, like I said, you're like fantastic in it because I think you could see all of that, all those evolutions, and like not obviously a lot of time, right? And you're kind of also doing. She's not saying these things, but I think you really could see it in your performance. It's just so great. I think it's like really fantastic, especially for someone who's like you. Like it feels like you're so funny, and you can realize it just is like, oh, this is like really good. It's just like acting, I guess, right? Like that's it.
I was acting. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Now, normally in real life, I get up there and just nail what I can out of the gates. You are correct. I mean, make it work.
You mentioned like the scene where she like or the realization I guess that DJ has that Deborah is like addicted to the laughs kind of, right? And like that kind of is her addiction. And I love that sequence with you and Gene, and obviously I think you get to like really like that's like a foundational thing for the show. I feel like you're getting to espouse right there, which is really cool. I guess like and that scene is great just in general between you and Gene. How like it's so like working like how is like how has your work with Gene evolved, I guess, over these 3 seasons, and like to get to that key scene like that, to like kind of really, if not a culmination, but like feels like a peak or maybe among peaks.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I would say that leading up to that scene, every scene with Gene is very much um, DJ paying a lot of attention to what Deborah's doing and saying and giving to her and basing her reactions and feedback off of what she's getting, because really all she wants is for her mom to validate her. I think that was a scene where DJ didn't care or need to see how Deborah felt about what she was saying. And so I, as an actor, didn't really need to see or feel what Gene was going to do. It was really just about like, that was awesome. I had this epiphany. I understand now something that you don't, and I'm just going to tell it to you. Like people walking by and just being like fully engaged in everything else that was going on and kind of giving her the time of day and like a hug, a real, but then very quickly and easily moving on. I think that's the first time there's been a scene with DJ and Deborah where DJ wasn't just fully invested in, am I, even if she's poking her to try and get negative feedback, it's always about like, how does Deborah feel about, how does my mom feel about me? How does my mom feel about this moment? And this was a scene where she was like free for the first time, I think.
Do you have like, you obviously like were like, you're like a guest actor on this show and incredible, and obviously been like Always Sunny for years now, right? Like as a regular, I guess, is it different for you, or do you like, I don't know if you would approach it differently, but does it feel different to come in as a guest, I would imagine, than like being a regular, or does that like, or there's not a real delineation because it's just about the work?
Both I think are true. It really just about the character and making it the best version of that character and the most special, unique, and interesting version that I can come up with. Um, but I really love being a guest star on this show because I, as an audience member, I'm a fan of the show. This is Gene's show, Gene and Hannah's show. I love watching them. I won't hop in anymore because I want it to be that when my character shows up, there's something really special like with the scene. And then I just want to be out of it and watch them do their thing. Um, but yeah, on Sunny, I'm like looking through the scripts, like, okay, more D, more D. What is D set on fire in this episode? What do I get to say? Do I chop my hair off? What's happening? So I think that's the difference is like you get to pop in as a guest star and you just know you're going to have this really juicy little storyline and then scoot for a while.
I guess I want to ask you a couple of things. So you're also in, you have in the Christmas episode, I know you're in as well. And you have a couple of scenes with J. Smith Cameron, who plays Kathy, and I love that dynamic, or that budding. I was like, I can't wait to see more of this. But I guess like, how is that like to kind of think about their like the Kathy DJ relationship, I guess?
It's so great. It's not just the Kathy DJ relationship, which I'm so excited about because especially now that DJ's pregnant and has somewhat a decent kind role model, a mother figure that she can maybe get some things from. But I love also for DJ that there's this triangle. It puts DJ in the middle, and I think there's probably, I hope, a part of DJ loves that her mom's jealous because she wants her mom's attention. So like, oh, you are jealous of, I would think that I'd want to more into um the relationship with Aunt Kathy because it's getting Deborah's attention. But then on the other episode, it's nice that she doesn't care and doesn't want to rock the boat because again, she's kind of let go of that need to get her mom's attention at every moment of the day. So for right now, it's just pregnant, having a Christmas party, getting ready for the baby, enjoying the love of her aunt, stuff like that.
I really like that too, because I like that you, like you said, like you kind of get like the little slow, like, oh, we get to see how the roast episode like really impacted like DJ's opinion of all of this, or like feelings about this, and you kind of really get to then play, like make good on that in the next one. I think that was like really cool. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so fun. And it would be nice to see, the ways in which Deborah's trying to maybe get her back. Because I bet much as she would deny it, that feels good to have somebody want your attention at times. And so have your daughter suddenly be like, never mind, I don't need it anymore. And that would be, I would think, very jarring and upsetting, I hope.
Yeah, well, that's maybe season 4 we could hope for, right? I guess.
I'll write a letter.
Before we go, I want to ask you, you mentioned Always Sunny there before. You had that great Emmys moment, this year, I guess it was, in January, where you guys were all on stage together, and I guess like you kind of talked about like how the show's never gotten that any Emmy recognition, which is just kind of crazy. I feel like for people who are aware of it or watch it, just I don't know. It seems like I think if you ask somebody on the street, they would say, of course, it's won many Emmys or whatever. But I guess like you can't worry about that, obviously, but like, why do you think that is? I guess, for lack of a better word, like, why do you think it's been like not paid tribute in the way it maybe should have been?
No, I think for a while, listen, in the first 5 seasons, we had a very tiny underground following. Most people hadn't seen it. And we started to get real traction, and then a lot of attention was being reviewed very well. And I think people were hearing about it and kind of like, oh, yeah, that's such a funny show. I love that show, but hadn't really seen it. So if you pop into like a scene and you don't watch a whole episode, it looks like this raunchy, inappropriate comedy. If you watch the whole episode, you see it's satire and it's actually very intelligent and it's making a lot of insightful commentary. So I think there may have been a misinterpretation of our show that it's this like blue lowbrow like gross humor show, which I don't think it is, and I think it maybe just wasn't Emmy worthy in that way. But I think if you watch episodes, it's like I think it's very intelligently written and has a quite a perspective. But at a certain point, now we're in our 17th season, like it's just past. Like now it's fine, it's funny. We lead to it point because it's just another thing to make fun of, and we're always looking for something to satirize or make fun of. So it became great fodder. So I'm grateful to it for
That's funny. Yeah, maybe an honorary Emmy in like 5 years or something they could do. I don't even know if they do that.
I'll take
You can make
whatever. God forbid, we'll all take a posthumous one. Write it on our grave, our tombstones.
Kaitlin Olson is an Emmy nominee for Hacks, and is eligible again this year for season 3 for a fantastic guest appearance as DJ, Deborah's daughter. Kaitlin, thank you so much for doing this. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.